questions. But gentlemen, let's begin to get analysis with the building collapse. I know there's a panel that has been set up, but I'm not sure there's so much more that we know about that particular building. Steve.
Good afternoon once again. There is so much in the air, but again, there are so many questions being thrown left and right. For example, yesterday I got another feedback from a colleague of ours who was there, and she said she spoke to one of the survivors who told her that part of the reason for the collapse of the building was an attempt to reconstruct a pillar that had caved in somehow. And they were trying to break the pillar to, you know, put another pillar up again on that part, I think on that particular spot. The building collapsed. But aside all those things, serious evidences and serious work that needs to be done is questions need to be asked. Who did the soil analysis for that place? How stable is that place when it comes to holding high-rise structures like that, like what we have right now?
Well, because I mean, while the 21-story building collapsed, there are other structures. I think we can see on the screen right now. I'm not sure it was up to 21, but there are other twin structures around this particular one.
Yes, there are twin structures around that particular one. But you know, there are differences in soil structure.
Right.
And this could be not more than 15 to 20 meters away. You can find a structure here that probably you'll find a large rock under the ground. And then just about a few meters away, you find another soil that does not have anything. It's full of clay soil or loamy soil down the right. So it depends on who did the soil analysis and what was the result of the soil analysis. Who approved the building? How come you approved the building? What were the indices that led to you approving such a building in the first instance? All these questions have not really been answered, and there is always a situation that these things have been shrouded in secrecy, probably because of the demise of the developer himself in the collapsed building. And probably some people are trying to play one kind of shady deals or the other. But the truth of the matter is that, yes, a committee has been set up to investigate the issue. And of course, I want to believe too that a coroner will be set up very soon for a coroner investigation to be duly carried out on these issues. But the whole thing is being shrouded in secrecy. Somebody is silently praying somewhere along the line for this thing to just move away quietly so that they can move on with life.
Tony, I wonder what your thoughts are. There was kind of a mild drama some days ago with relatives engaging in trying to identify who their loved ones are and all of that. But I wonder what your thoughts are as regards what is playing out. I understand that about 40 persons are still missing. 40.
Just the situation we find ourselves in Nigeria today. This is not the first time.
Of course.
We had building collapse in Nigeria, especially in Lagos, for a long time. You know, the major one that happened before this one was this at a synagogue, Church of All Nations. Until date, nobody can tell what actually happened. And because at the end of the day, life goes on, it will continue to happen. Officials of government who are supposed to supervise and make sure things like this does not happen are highly compromised. And because they are highly compromised, they cannot go in details in unraveling whatever happened so as to curtail a recurrence in future. So until we get to that point where people are being subjected to, you know, punishments for not doing the right thing, then we can start saying, okay, how do we get? We will not get out of it. I can assure you, like in Ikoyi, for instance, the Gerard building collapse. I noticed that since this week, the rescue, there's this canopy set up there for families and, you know, relatives of people who have who need one or two information from there. It's been collapsed. Activity there has been reduced. It's not the traffic there has stopped. I mean, the the quantum of government response there has reduced. You have excavators, we have a manner of, equipment trying to, work on the rubble. From reliable sources, at any time from now, they're going to stop. That is what I'm saying. Life will go on any time from now, and that is not how a country that expects change should go. People, who are those people responsible? Just as Steve was saying, there are some people by now that should be taken, taken the fall. People should be punished right now.
Well, we know the Lagos State government has suspended the.
No, it's not about being suspended.
There's a GM of the Lagos
that's the Director General of a Lagos State Building Control Agency. There is a Minister of Fiscal, Commissioner for Fiscal Planning and Urban Development in Lagos. There are agencies of government responsible to follow up. But they were not following up, and we've had cases where we had stories of how that place was approved for 20 story, and then suddenly it was 21. And the day people came, the government was saying, there's a lot going on. It's not an issue of setting up a panel. That panel must be public. The family and relatives must have access to the panel. Journalists and all that we need to know to the bottom what actually happened. What actually happened? Somebody has to take a blame for it. See, if we keep avoiding, for me, that is the most important part of it.
All right.
Whoever is responsible, the agency, official, staff of Lagos State government must be punished. If you don't meet our punishment to whoever is responsible for these things, it will keep happening.
All right.
It will keep happening.
Well, let's bring in Dr. Kilani Mohammed into the conversation, editor-in-chief of the Liberator magazine and director, publicity presidential support committee, just as live from the nation's capital, Abuja. Dr. Mohammed, I wonder just how you received the news of the building collapse. Of course, there have been search efforts and rescue efforts ongoing at the moment. The chances of finding any more survivors are really very slim. But I wonder what your thoughts are about the building collapse and the fact that there are a lot of issues surrounding how government keeps reacting to some of these issues.
Well, I think the government has done well by making sure that I learned an inquiry panel has been set into that building collapse, and we hope by the governor of Lagos State, we hope they are going to do the correct thing, so that they will do it as fast as possible. But in this country, there are a lot of panels being set up over years, but at the end of the day, you will not hear anything. So I hope let us start to learn how to correct things in this country. Implementation, by the time an inquiry has been made and the results is published, then implementation must take place. But I don't know which architects or the engineers that they involved in that building.
Well, I know that you are also an engineer. I'm not sure what area of engineering you specialize in, but perhaps is building collapse a common thing you see in Abuja? Is it as common as we do have here in Lagos?
Yes. So I'm hearing you now. So all we need to do, we need qualified engineers and architects. All these quacks parading themselves as architects and engineers in this country, I think something must have to be done. This is not the first time buildings have been collapsing in Lagos, most especially Lagos. In the last 1 year, we have seen series of buildings collapsed. So what is the problem? Is it from the architectural design, or is it the employment of fake engineers that don't know anything, that normally brings about all these building collapses in Lagos? So if that is so, then we have to go back to the drawing board and make sure we do the right thing. But there's one controversy making the rounds that, which I read recently. They said one Yoruba man, a Muslim, went to the owner of that building and he interviewed him. At the end of the day, when he learned that the man was a Muslim, he didn't take him. He was not employed. And that one now is generating a controversy around the country. I don't know. That's why, Mr. Kelly, I kept telling you, this country belongs to all of us. Whether you are Yoruba man, you are a Nupe man, or you are Igbo. God knows why he brought us together, and this country, we must have to come together and salvage it. That one is going on now. And they said the man was lucky. If he had been employed, that building could have collapsed with him. We learned so far about 49 people were brought dead while they are still trying to rescue others. So, and we're advising Lagos state government. Lagos is surrounded by water.
We'll leave it at that because we definitely need to look at other issues as well, Dr. Mohammed. But I mean, according to the official figures from the National Emergency Management Agency, the casualty still stands at 44 as at 2-3 days ago. 15 survivors and 40 persons are still missing. Just your closing thoughts, Attorney, because we have to leave this.
Quickly. Sorry. In 2019, figures obtained from Building Collapse Prevention Guild, an advocacy group of building professionals, indicated that Nigeria has recorded not less than 43 cases of building collapses. The report showed that Lagos had the highest figure with 17 cases, accounting for about 39% of the total number of collapsed buildings. Anambra State had the second highest with 6 collapsed buildings, while Delta, Plateau, Enugu, and the rest recorded 2 collapsed buildings each in 2019, while Imo, Kwara, Abia. Some of the most notable and devastating disasters in the country include the collapse of the guest house of the Synagogue Church of All Nations in 2014 that killed at least 115 people, of which 84 of them were South Africans. It was noted that the country recorded 27 cases of building collapse in 2015, with no fewer than 175 deaths recorded.
All right.
Yeah. So you see, if you read this, you observe that Lagos State is leading. It means that there is something that they need to do. There is something they are not doing right. There are something. We live in streets in Lagos, and you see buildings suddenly come up from nowhere. You see some bungalows suddenly taking the shape of a duplex, and sometimes you see the building marked red. 3 days after or days after, building continues, and it happens. Something is wrong somewhere.
You have just mentioned this, and I probably need to say this because where I stay as well, in the compound, in my landlord, we had it was a 2-bedroom flat. I mean, all of a sudden, my landlord was able to transform it to a story building.
And that's what we are talking about. So nobody knows the soil structure under, and a lot of things happens like that.
This particular one, we don't even know the site engineer.
Nobody the site engineer has not shown.
Let's see. We'll keep waiting for more revelations about the Ikoyi building collapse. But indeed, again, our thoughts, prayers, and condolences are with the families of the departed. Bolumade from Burning Kebbi says the ugly cases of building collapse in Nigeria are persisting because successive governments have not been decisive enough in wielding the big sticks against the people who falter in their responsibility of ensuring that standards for the erection of such structures are not compromised. He goes on to say, I call on government to begin to punish such officials. I strongly recommend that such people should not only lose their jobs, but also prosecuted and tried in the court of law. Where they are found guilty, they should be sent to jail without an option of fine. Thank you so much, Mr. Bolumade from Burning Kebbi.